Alright, welcome back everybody. I just got home from my trip to Edwards, and while I was out there, I had the privilege to knock out some spin training. Not just knock out spin training, but I actually got my spin endorsement. So if I ever decide to become a CFI later on, it's one more thing in the tool bag there. But it's something I've been wanting to do for a while now. I feel like every pilot probably should, and after going through it, I'm 100% convinced every pilot should. It definitely improves your skill set, and I can tell you right now, the first time you ever have to deal with a spin is not the first time you want to have ever had to deal with a spin. It's worth it to go out there and practice with an instructor. That being said, while I was in California, out at Lancaster Fox Field, I got the chance to fly this beautiful Decathlon with Justin Rhines of Unhinged Aerobatics. I will link his training in the description of this. Awesome instructor, awesome airplane. He does spin training, he does tail wheel endorsements, aerobatic lessons. Definitely not going to be the last time I go fly with Justin. I'll be back out to Edwards again, and I will definitely go get some more training from him. Maybe do some positive G aerobatics next time. We'll get to that later, but this is several more firsts for me. This is the first time flying a Decathlon, obviously. I haven't flown one of these before. It is very similar in the way it feels and looks in the cockpit and everything else to the Champ that I flew, but that's about where the similarities end. This has, I believe it was 180 horsepower, IO 360 engine, so it's an aerobatic, fuel-injected 360 Lycoming engine up front. So it's the first time I've flown behind a fuel-injected motor, which requires slightly different starting procedures. It also has a constant speed prop. First time I've used one of those. Technically, the 172 diesel I flew a while back had a constant speed, but that was all controlled by the computer, and it was electric, and nothing I had to do there. So a little bit of a learning curve on that, but otherwise not too bad. Okay, coming up, this is the first stall in the airplane. I did some Dutch roll stuff on the way out to the practice area, and now I'm just getting a feel for the way it stalls. Very predictable, very easy to control airplane. Saw it wanted to kind of drop a wing. I wasn't as coordinated as I probably should have been, but otherwise not too bad. Also, this is the first in-flight use of the Insta 360 camera. Hopefully you all like it. I left it in RAW 360 format so you can move the camera around to whatever angle suits you. Or if you're feeling very brave, you can put on a VR headset and look around. Can't guarantee you won't throw up, but good luck. If somebody wants, I can probably try and release this as a normal video with just a forward-looking perspective. Just let me know down in the comments below and I can do that. Okay, so after the stall, you see me doing the falling leaf here, and actually I'm recovering right now. Did the same thing in the Champ, although this is a much more aggressive plane than the Champ was for the falling leaf. That was a more docile maneuver. But that was it for the preliminary stuff. Now it's time to get set up for the main event. Alright, so here it comes. First spin. And I should have prefaced this earlier. Again, I'm not an instructor. Don't take this as an instructional video. This is just me and my training. So you get it near stall down to 60, then pull that stick back and hold it buried in your lap and step on the rudder to get it into the spin. It's important you hold it the whole time. Otherwise you enter a whole nother maneuver like a spiral that you don't want to be in. And then you apply your recovery techniques. I was going for, I think it was 4 rotations, and I actually did a really good job of counting the rotations. Probably the only thing I actually did good. Since that was my first one, Justin is in the back letting me know that I didn't push hard enough for the recovery, which he told me during the ground portion that I probably wouldn't, because nobody does the first time, and he was absolutely right. You really have to push to break the stall and get it out. So now we're doing the same thing, going to the right. This time I was a lot more aggressive on the push to get it out. I think I ended up hitting a total of like negative 1.5 Gs, and then during all of this training I ended up, I think, at a max of positive 3.5. So not too bad, but I could feel it, that's for sure. So that one went a little better, other than I inadvertently started to throttle up before recovering, which would have been horribly bad because that could have put us into a flat spin instead of a regular one, but I caught it really quick and fixed it. Started getting a little bit better at it, at least I think I did. So now I'm doing some recoveries from the incipient stage of the spin. So basically recognize it and recover. Really got pretty comfortable with doing that. I think the training was starting to help. It was starting to make sense what needed to be done. And I had fun all the way up until a point. There we go, another recovery. Here in just a minute, Justin's going to take the controls and act like a student, and he's going to do a spin, but he's going to deliberately mess part of it up, and I had to be able to recognize it, tell him to recover, and then debrief what he did wrong. So let's see when that comes up. So yeah, here we go. This was him acting as a student for the spin, and the thing is, if you don't hold full back pressure during the spin and you let up a little bit, you'll go from a spin to a spiral, which you can tell because the rate of rotation will increase and the airspeed will start to jump up rapidly. A spin is actually pretty stable, and that's what he did there. He let off on the stick a little bit and we entered a spiral. So had him recover, I identified it, and then we discussed it. But at that point, that's where I started getting a little nauseous. I was fine while I was in control, probably because I was focusing on what I was doing, but watching him do it and then have to respond to it started to get me a little bit nauseous, and for the remainder of this flight, I kind of stayed there. I still managed to power through. I did not puke. He did hand me a bag. I had it tucked away in my harness there, but didn't need it. There, we're getting repositioned. You can see I've got my hands off the controls. He's flying for a moment. Let me catch my breath and make sure I don't actually puke. And we're getting set up to do some other stuff, some accelerated stalls into spins. I think there was like 60 degrees of bank leading into some of those. Did some spin entry from a skidding turn like you would see on a based final turn, as well as a slip, and why a slip is definitely preferred. All really good training. Very glad I got to do it. Hope you're all enjoying this. Again, let me know what you think of the 360 format. I will post just a regular view format if that's what everybody would like as well. And yeah, just enjoy it. If you're brave enough to watch this on the VR headset, also let me know in the comments down below, because I'm very, very curious how that worked out for you. Okay, so I'd had more than enough fun, and we headed back to do the landing, and this plane, just like the Champ, does not have flaps. So one less thing to be complicated, but it also means every landing is a no-flap landing. I was coming in to try and do a 3-point landing, and kind of misjudged how high up I was. Justin told me I needed to add power. I thought I was doing really well, but yeah, I misjudged how high up I was, so ended up powering up out of this. Made part of an effort to try and save it and land a little further down the runway, but then ultimately decided the best thing to do was just go around and try again. Alright, so this attempt was looking much, much better. Really do love this airplane. It's so much fun to fly. Again, this was going to be a 3-point landing. Not to give myself any excuses, but I believe the wind was about a quartering-ish, mostly headwind of about 17, 18 knots that day. So it was a little windy up there. Not a crosswind or any crazy crosswind by any means, just ever so slightly coming from the left, I think. Oh, another thing I had to get used to really quick, I didn't mention earlier, but since this has a constant speed prop, I learned really quick that when you throttle back, it slows down really quick and it'll lose altitude really quick. It's kind of like having an air brake up front. Anyhow, I'll take that all day, every day. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave me some comments below. If you haven't seen the build series, go check out the build videos. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, all that other good stuff. There's also a podcast out there if you haven't seen that with me and Chris. I'll leave links to all that stuff below, and I will see you all on the next one.